It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. You know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 294. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe. Hello.
Hi.
So I guess we should start by talking about a new little thing we're doing.
What's that?
With if someone's got an idea. Or not an idea, but they see some news that they think we should be aware of.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what should people do?
I don't know. You did all the other stuff.
Oh, okay. You wanted me to take over. Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
This is where you do your talking.
Okay. So if you see something and you want to make sure that we know about it, because a lot of times people are testing and they don't even know they're testing.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you find something interesting, what I want you to do is go to theclipout.com/tips. TIPS. Like it's a tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip, except the website address, though, is theclipout.com/tips.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. You can also email us at tcointheknow@gmail.com.
So
if you must.
Yes. Either way, we'll get you there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to start featuring people who send the tips over.
Unless you have some hot tip that's so juicy you don't want to be divulged.
You have the opportunity to tell us, hey, I would like to remain anonymous. And a lot of people do. Like I get that a lot. That's totally fine. No big deal. Just tell us that. And the forum does have a place for it. So that's one of the reasons I want you to fill out a form, not send us an email. But you're welcome to do either.
Right. So that's out there. And then if you go to the website, if you can't remember the exact URL, there's a button right at the top. So it's super easy for you to find.
Super easy.
Yeah. So other than that, what, pray tell, do you have in store for people this week?
Well, we're going to talk about the new live rowing classes. Super exciting. And then we're also going to talk about the next earnings call coming up. There's a whole bunch of things going on with instructors, as always. Got to hit all that. We also want to talk about the Peloton stock stuff. We haven't talked about that in a while. We have a visit from Dr. Jen, and we're going to kind of look at the opposite side of things. Like, when is working out too much? Like, how is that a thing?
Yes.
And then we have a visit from Angelo, and we're talking about vegan keto snacks. It's a long thing. You'll make sense when you get there.
In context,
it will make sense. And of course, we have all kinds of things going on. Past guest updates, tons of information about Peloton. We've got some tonal news. All kinds of things.
Awesome. Well, before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, Google, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us. While you're there, be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review so the people that come along after you know we're worth checking out. Also helps the algorithm. So we've been told we all have to bow down to the algorithm. Right?
We do.
Yes.
We do.
And, you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. It's a great way to stay up to date on Peloton breaking news throughout the week, right? You can also find us on YouTube, youtube.com/theclipout, where you can watch these episodes. One of us is waving at you right now. Mm-hmm. I'll let you guess which one. You can go to YouTube and find out for sure.
It's definitely not Tom.
Well, now you've ruined it.
I'm sorry.
Now they're not going to go to YouTube and see me not waving.
Damn it.
So you can also subscribe to our newsletter at theclipout.com. And finally, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/theclipout, where you can get these episodes ad-free. You can also, when they come out early, you get them early. When they come to us early, we send them to you early. And you can also, what's the other thing? Oh, yeah. We record bonus episodes. So sometimes we just have little extra things to say to you.
And there's a lot of stuff coming. I don't want to say too much about that, but I will say we've got some real exciting bonus content happening very soon. So I know we haven't had an bonus episode for a little bit, but I
not
think
forgotten.
we have not.
Yes.
And I think this will make up for it.
Okay. Guess now that we've done all that, let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
Live rowing classes have finally launched.
They have. Yes, only on the rower for the 8 millionth time. I love whenever I get questions over and over again. But seriously, keep in mind, at least for now, that's the case. I don't think it's always going to, I mean, I know it's not going to be like that forever. We just don't know yet how much is going to be on the app. Like, are they going to give some classes? Are they going to give all the classes? We don't know. But what we do know is there will be the ability to see it at some point in some manner.
So maybe not live.
No, live classes. Well, that's a good point. I guess I thought they were, but that's a good point. It may not be live. It could be on demand for all we know.
Yeah. I think first off, I think you're burying the lead here.
What's the lead?
I had a good point.
Oh.
I do that so seldom.
That's not true. You do it all the time. And I do give you credit for it. So.
Okay. So is there other rowing stuff we need to know?
I haven't taken any of the classes because they happen at 7:30 at night Eastern time.
Yeah.
And I work out in the morning. Who are these people working out at night? I'm just kidding. Whenever it works for you, that's when you should work out. But it does not work for me, at least this week. So next week, there are a bunch of live rows taking place throughout the week. And I thought what I would do is start posting a picture on my Instagram and other socials so people can see what the upcoming weekly schedule is so they can get an idea of what kind of classes are coming down the pipe since they can't see it on their app. I thut that might be a good idea.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'll be doing a post, so look for it.
Peloton has announced their next earnings call.
I am happy to report that they are back to Wednesdays, at least this time around. It's going to be on Wednesday, February 1st. Yes.
Makes our life a little easier.
So much easier.
I don't think it means a thing for the listeners, but for us, it makes our lives a little easier.
It does. So 8:30 Eastern to 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We on February 1st will be listening in and we will do a full report as we do every time they have an earnings call. I am excited about this one. I think it's going to be good.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think that?
I feel like we've rounded a corner. I know, sadly, a lot of the stores that were going to close have now closed.
Right. We lost the St. Louis store.
We did.
Our hometown this week.
We did. And as you know, Tom, the Westchester store that closed.
Yes.
And going through another project that I'm working on, that was one of the first stores to open. So it was open a long time.
Yeah.
And that is really sad to see it close. But nonetheless, that has occurred. And so I think between that and like a lot of the things that Peloton has been doing, like with Amazon, Dick's Sporting Goods, etc., I think we've started to see the shift into the more positivity. And I don't know if other people have noticed this, but it seems like the drama is largely past. And I think that Peloton has been like really, really working hard on their messaging like they used to do years ago. And I feel like they're back to that. And I feel like it's starting to show and it's starting to work.
More fundamentals, less fancy pants.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Or should I say fancy leggings? Doesn't rhyme though.
It does not.
Yeah.
It does not. So maybe I'm just overly optimistic, but I feel like they're getting their feet back from under, or rather, they're getting their feet back under them. And I think we might start to see pieces of that show up financially.
They finally starting to see some of the payoff from the hard choices they've been making.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Definitely.
Shape magazine had an article this week about Peloton and their focus on making fitness more welcoming, more specifically for health at every size principles.
Yes, it's not Michelle Kay, sadly, writing this article. But it was still a very good article and got to interview Camila and talk about how she's so body positive and it's always been really important to her. And Camila talks a lot in her classes about why it's important to love yourself at all sizes. And she makes it kind of part of her class, every class. Not overwhelmingly so. I don't want people to think that it's like this big thing. It's not. It's just this like positive vibe that comes with it. And it's really nice. It's really nice.
I like how in the middle of this article, there's an ad for Shape's Pick new weight loss program. Health at any size, but here's a size.
Well, and you can be healthy at any size. You also can be unhealthy at any size.
For sure.
Both can be a thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's correlation. It's not always causation.
Yeah. And this article also talks about the Hayes principle and why it matters in fitness. And so if you haven't heard of that and you want to learn more about that, this article goes into that in depth. And
very much so. Like there's a lot of information here.
Yeah. And they talk a lot about all the instructors that bring that to life, from Camila to Christine to Logan Aldridge, even Callie Gullickson. I'm laughing because they mention her Trader Joe's posts and how she can lift her Trader Joe bags, and that just made me laugh. But there's a lot of really good information in here, and like I said, even though it wasn't Michelle K, it was still a very well done article, so it's pretty cool.
Peloton has a new PSNY events team in place.
They sure do. It's Travis and it's Travis Sherwin. And I don't know this lady's name, but she is posing in the picture with Travis, but they are both going to be working on the team. And just wanted to say congrats to them both. Every time we have ever been to the studio, Travis has been just super duper nice and always made us feel welcome. Everyone I've ever seen, he's always made them feel welcome and part of the experience. And so I'm really, really happy for him. So congratulations.
NBC News had an article this week about the 10 best fitness apps for 2023. And Peloton made the list.
They sure did. In fact, it's right at the very top. And it says in here that you can get a free trial for 30 days. And it makes sure to mention that it's $12.99 a month, but $129 annually. So that's great that they're getting a mention for that as well.
And while we're talking about lists, Sports Illustrated had a list of the best indoor cycling apps. And I don't know, this article kind of felt like when your fifth grade teacher hands out awards and she makes sure that everyone gets an award.
Yeah, there's a lot of these out there, and it kind of comes down to what you've said before. They get a click for everyone. Like they get paid for every click. That's really what this is about.
Like they want whichever one you choose to buy, they're hoping that they get credit for it. And because it's like best indoor cycling app overall, best indoor cycling app for a home, a home studio, best multi-purpose, best classes taught by international instructors, for killer playlists. Like, I mean, first off, like, and no one repeats, right? Everyone's a different company. But so Peloton got it for best indoor cycling app for a studio experience. But like, are you really telling me that Soul Studio, whatever that is, has better playlists than Peloton?
Yeah, they don't.
I got to throw the bullshit flag on that.
Agreed. Yeah. But it's still fun that they were mentioned.
Sure. Yes, there are much worse articles Peloton could be popping up in.
Exactly.
We've seen them.
We sure have. And sometimes they're in the Motley Fool.
Yes. And Motley Fool has an article this week. Can Peloton make an epic comeback? And they're a little bit more, at least this particular article is a little bit more bullish on Peloton than some people are.
As the Motley Fool does every week, there is one with the exact opposite opinion. I just chose to include this one. And I chose to include this because it made my earlier point about how I think we're starting to see that tide turn.
Yeah.
And so that's what this video is about if you choose to watch it. Of course, they're careful. They're not like, it's going to be amazing.
Right. There was an interesting article on a website called Hemophilia News Today. Guess what they write about?
What do they write about? Do they write about hemophilia?
Wow. You were really good at context clues.
Thanks.
But the author writes about how Peloton works out very well with hemophilia. I guess because it's low impact.
Yeah. And they said that it helps with joint protection as well, which all low impact exercises do. But it's just nice to see that somebody highlighting Peloton for chronic conditions. I've had lots of people say to me, you should talk about how it helps chronic conditions. And we try to highlight different chronic conditions by bringing in people who have suffered from those chronic conditions, and they talk about how Peloton has helped them. But it's nice to see that it's in a news, like a place that's all about hemophilia.
Right.
Like I feel like that is really good for Peloton.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. And it's neat to just read this person's story and like how much they've improved with their Peloton. That's always very encouraging to see.
Also came across a blog called Confessions of a Mother Runner, and she does a review of Peloton's 3-day split strength training program.
Yeah. So this is from a lady named Deborah. And I guess she is an NASM certified nutrition and RRCA run coach. So she knows what she's talking about. That's my reason for telling you that. I liked reading this because I guess it sounded very familiar to things I have said about it. In general, it's great because it's like, okay, you already know what your classes are going to be. You show up, you do them, and then you repeat it for 4 weeks. Everything's already pre-planned. It's kind of like what we like about Peloton. You don't have to think too much about
tonal.
it. What did I say? Peloton?
You said Peloton, yeah.
It's kind of what we like about tonal.
Yeah.
You show up and you just do it. You don't need to think too much about it. But they said that these classes are more challenging than the regular strength classes, which I have also found to be true. However, what they don't like about it, or what could be improved in their mind, is that you can't really program out your days. You can't change it up very much. Like it's just kind of, here's your program.
Gotcha.
There's not a lot of flexibility to it. And it's difficult to like plan out, I'm going to use this weights this day and kind of increase as I go through. There's not really a way to do that yet. I feel like Peloton has so much room for opportunity with strength that they can continue to lean into, because it's going to be a tough road to have people using weights at home and getting them to push themselves safely, right? You've always got some people that are all in and they're like, I can lift 50s, and they should not. They have no business lifting 50s. And then you have people who are lifting 3s that really should be challenging themselves with a 10. And you have every different shade in between. And so that's really hard for Peloton. But I like that they are headed down the road of having programs, because I think that's something they desperately need. They need more direction for people, more prescription for people, because what people want next is, how do I get from here to my goals? And I think Peloton needs more of that. So anyway, if you were wondering.
Peloton is also making updates to the feed.
Yeah. So for those of you who have no idea what that means, on the app or on the bike, treadmill, whatever, there's now a little thing that says feed, and you can see what your friends are doing, what classes they're taking. It's been in beta mode forever. We've talked about it like a million times. It's also the thing that we talked about where it's like, okay, well, now everybody can see what you're doing. So if you're working out in the middle of the day and you didn't want your boss to know, you might want to go in and turn that off. And there are options to do that. But now they have added notifications. So up in the upper right-hand corner, if you'll notice, it says that there are 5 notifications, right? But when you click on them, it says that the notifications page will be implemented in a later release. So you got to assume that's coming soon, and you're going to be able to actually see who high-fived you, and they're going to be able to, you're going to be able to keep track of it, because right now it's just like you just get told, oh, I got a high five for whatever class I took, and you don't know where that's coming from.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty random.
Gotcha.
So they're going to start to connect those things, and I'm sure this is just the first of many updates to come. So look for that.
And coming up after this, we're going to talk to Dr. Jen, and she's going to give us some insight on when you could be working out too much.
Getting the Psychological Edge with Dr. Jen.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jen Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was also a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jen. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
I mean, you're really the perfect person to ask this next question. I can't think of a better person to answer this. We had an anonymous submission for this, and somebody wanted to talk about, there are some folks who work out a lot. And when I say a lot, like specifically, there's a person who is known to be on Facebook groups and such, bragging about working out 7 hours a day on average. There's a person that actually gets shout outs in every other class, and they are at 147,000 minutes for last year's time. And then this person has suffered from eating disorders and orthorexia in the past. And for them, it's triggering to constantly see people giving this person kudos in the Facebook groups, shout outs in live classes, when the person is doing this is viewed as unhealthy. So really, she just wanted to hear your thoughts on this.
I have many.
Okay.
Look, I think that it's a very tricky thing, especially in the Peloton community, because there are different people who have different levels of fitness, who have different goals. There are some people who are training for a triathlon, in which case, multi-hour workouts may be appropriate, versus people who are eating disorders. And look, we can't deny the fact that within the community, there are people who are orthorexic, who are anorexic, who have bulimia, who have exercise bulimia, who are eating disordered. And it's very hard to know kind of who fits in where. And I think we have to be really careful. And when you see someone who is training 7 hours a day, that is extremely excessive. Like, that is not healthy. That is not beneficial. Even when I was an Olympic level athlete, we trained 4 hours typically a day, sometimes maybe 7 right before an international competition. But for someone who is not training for the Olympics, this is really excessive. And I think that people need to be aware. And I also think that it's a tough situation, because it would be helpful for people to reach out to this person, say, hey, I'm worried. I know you're getting a lot of cheers and a lot of high fives or whatever, but I'm really worried about you. And at the same time, we know each other in the community, but we kind of don't know each other. So sometimes it feels weird to cross that line and be like, hey, I know we've known each other on Instagram for years, but, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but here I am. So I think that people kind of reaching out to that person saying, hey, I'm worried about you is important. I think that people not cheering on things that are that excessive. I think that there does need to be conversations within the Peloton community and the Facebook rooms of, hey, what is that line? Are people suffering? Should we be worried? How do you know when you've crossed that line? And I think that it is, it's a very slippery slope, and it's very tricky, and it's very hard to know. And at the same time, we also don't want to be judging everyone, but that seems really, really excessive. And if you are someone who is crossing that line into multi-hour workouts and you're not training for a specific event, you need to talk to your doctor, you need to talk to a therapist, you need to talk to someone who knows about eating disorders to see, have I crossed that line? Is this still healthy, or is it now obsessive? And also, you need to look at, if you don't work out, are you freaking out? Are you not allowing yourself to eat? Are you worried about your weight? Are you obsessing? Are you in that kind of obsessional eating disorder type of thinking? If you are, that is a huge red flag. You should be able to go a day without working out, without hating yourself or beating yourself up. You should be able to do that without not eating that day, without it hugely impacting what you consume. So really just encouraging any of you who are struggling with that, please talk to someone, get a second opinion. If you even question it in the slightest, if your relationship with food or exercise is causing you pain, seek out help, please.
Excellent advice. And I would just like to add that as far as shout outs in the classes, I think that's probably putting a lot on the instructor to assume that they are seeing the number of hours and minutes that this person is working out. So I can understand on the one hand why there's concern, but I also think on the other hand, it's such a quick thing when an instructor is seeing a name that we should not assume that they are even really aware of how many minutes this person is working out.
Now, playing devil's advocate.
Okay, Tom.
It's so hard to get a shout out these days.
It is.
That if they're hearing this person get shouted out a lot, it makes me think it's, perhaps it is somebody that's professional or adjacent, and that's why the instructors know who they are and that they're getting more shout outs than normal, because it's pretty difficult to get a shout out even if you are exercising 47 hours a week, which is what 147,000 minutes in a year would work out to.
I mean, I guess this person doesn't work.
But again, unless you're training for the Olympics, unless you are training for a triathlon and are under a doctor's care, like, this is excessive.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like I said, it's hard to get shout outs. So
it makes you wonder if there's more going on there. Yeah. It's a fair point.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the person's profiles. So, and also I know we shouldn't share profiles, but we also don't know if this person shares a profile. I mean, they could have multiple people in their household using that account. And so it might look like they're racking up a lot of time, but we don't.
That's positive. Look, you got to hope.
I do.
You gotta hope. And look, I've been very public about that. I once had an eating disorder for a good decade of my life, that I'm someone who is recovered. I wrote my doctoral dissertation on eating disorders. I have an app called No More Diets based on my clinical work and my doctoral dissertation. So this is an area that I'm very well versed in. And again, this is excessive. What's being described, unless this is 10 people in the family or someone who is being monitored by a doctor to train for the actual Olympics, not like figuratively Olympics, this is excessive.
That all fair points.
Absolutely.
All fair points. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your input.
Absolutely. And until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on all social media at Dr. Jen Mann. And on Instagram, I do post my workouts, which hopefully aren't excessive. And two ends on man. And I do talk to my doctor, my cardiologist, and a trainer when I make my workouts so that they are appropriate to my level of fitness and my age and everything else.
And we are glad that you do.
Duly noted.
Thank you.
Instructors in the news.
Tunde interviewed the star and writer and directors, because it was a team, behind the new film Missing.
Yep. Don't know why.
Yeah, it just seemed kind of like
did.
Yeah, like it's like it's not for anything. It just seems to be.
I think this is kind of relating to, like, you know how last year she had the podcast that came out, Fitness Flipped, and then this year Cody did his whatever LOL thing.
LOL Cody, yeah.
Yeah, that show. I think this is another example of that, where Peloton is giving the instructors the room to go out and do different things. I mean, clearly Tunde is headed down the road of wanting to interview people. She wants to I don't know how else to read this other than she wants a talk show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where she keeps getting opportunities in that realm. And she would be good at it. So I think this is one of those opportunities. And I think that, unlike music, like, it's easy to incorporate music into classes. How do you incorporate a movie into classes?
Yeah.
So I think it's tough to figure out how to pull those two together, but I think that's what Sony Pictures was trying to do by having her do that.
And if you're unfamiliar with the movie Missing, first off, it's really good.
You should go watch it immediately.
Yeah. It's a sequel of sorts to a movie called Searching, but it's really more of an anthology series of films. So, like, you don't have to have seen Searching to follow Missing in any way, shape, or form. But Searching is also really good and worth checking out. But the hook of the movies is that they take place entirely through, like, a laptop. So you're watching this and Missing, this girl's mother goes missing, and she's looking for her, and she's on her laptop. She's using her iPhone. She's checking out security cam footage, Ring doorbell footage, webcams from tourist locations. And so the entire movie is seen from the POV of footage of a screen. And Searching does the same thing. So,
but I have to say, Missing and Searching go about it totally differently. And I did not think it was going to be possible for Missing to be good after watching Searching, and it was.
Yeah, because Searching was really good, but you're also kind of like, well, okay, but you got a gimmick and you did it once, and can you pull it off again? And I think these are different creators. I don't think these were the same creators, but they used that premise as a jumping off point, and they really did. And we should also say that I forget which one, but one of the directors is actually from St. Louis.
I don't remember. I know you told me, but I can't remember who it was. But
I forget. But yeah, the one's actually from the Kirkwood area, which is a suburb of St. Louis, which is where we live.
Yeah. Well, if you get an opportunity to see it, go.
It is worth your time. Mm-hmm. So Allie Love was on the Today Show.
Yeah. I don't know if you included both of the articles that I had about this, but I guess it got weird.
Well, yeah, because I guess that she was going to have the host kind of exercise along, and then Hoda told Jenna Bush that she was not allowed to participate because she has a dress on. And I guess there was an article earlier in the week or sometime that Jenna Bush is not a fan of the underwear.
Oh.
And so
it could have been a mishap.
So yes, she didn't want to
show people things they didn't need to see.
Yes. It was only you can spell your last name, but don't show your last name on national television.
Wow.
So
well, the actual takeaway was supposed to be that Allie Love was on the Today Show. I love that they have Work It Out with Allie Love. Like this reminds me of the set of an 80s DVD. Well, it would have been a VHS back then, but that's what this looks like.
Yeah, it's definitely with the colors and the design, the font, and the geometric shapes that they're using.
Yes,
it definitely has an 80s vibe to it.
I'm pretty sure I did this video, except it was with Claudia Schiffer. Oh, that's hilarious.
Dennis Morton was on the podcast Intentional Wisdom.
Episode 15. Wow, that's pretty new.
Yeah, but it's on the Spotify, so maybe it's one of their podcasts.
Oh, hey, that could be. Yeah. Well, congrats to Denis for being on a podcast.
And then speaking of podcast appearances, Camila Ramon was on Allie on the Run's podcast.
Conversely, episode 605. A little difference in numbers there.
Yeah, she's been at it for a bit.
She sure has. Yeah, she's amazing. I love Allie.
Rad Lopez was on Pix 11 News, I believe again, right? Wasn't he on there a few weeks back?
I don't remember that being
I feel
Rad.
like we talked about Pix 11 News, and so I just assumed it was him back, but because I also remember he had an appearance somewhere where we're like, oh, we haven't seen him out and about much.
Maybe
I'm merging, I'm confabulating two things in my head.
There are a lot of Peloton instructors.
Yes.
And there are a lot of appearances, so that is possible. But at any rate, it was a Bronx, New York channel 11. So
and as people from flyover country, it amazes me that like one borough has a channel dedicated to it. Like it's not like they cover New York. It's like Bronx.
It's the Bronx.
Like we just do the Bronx.
Well, it does say that it was a Bronx staple. It doesn't say they only cover the Bronx.
Okay.
So, I mean, to be fair, we don't actually know that. It's an assumption.
But you would think if it's a Bronx staple, that makes me think that they do something that really says we're focused on the Bronx.
Yeah, I have no idea. It makes sense what you're saying, though. I agree with you.
Ooh, I made a good point, and I said something that made sense.
You are on a roll.
I am on a roll. So I'm really excited about this next article. It's a website who I've been following for a long time. We've never talked about it, but
oh, geez,
what Vag News?
No.
What it's
what's veg. Veg as in vegetable.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then in that case, I am not familiar with this site's work.
Okay, I had a feeling that was the case, but Veg News. They highlighted Robin Arzon. They had a whole interview with her. And if you wanted to know, you could vote for your favorite vegan products in the 2023 Veggie Awards, which I didn't even know was a thing. But it makes sense that it's a thing.
Yeah. I've learned with the internet that pretty much everything is a thing.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that is definitely fair. And why Robin thinks balance is bullshit. She's talked about this before many times. So that's cool. Yeah. And she does it all completely powered by plants.
Oh, yeah. This is her Instagram post talking about her appearance.
Yes.
And then also speaking of Robin, her new book is almost upon us.
It is. Yeah, it comes out in March, and you can pre-order now if you haven't done so yet. You can just head over to her Instagram, go to the link in her stories, and you too can pre-order Strong Baby.
German instructor Charlene Weidenbach.
I think it's Charlotte.
What did I say?
Charlene.
Oh, yeah, that's not even a name. I'm just making things up. Don't listen to me, people. Take it back. I had a good point. I said something that made sense. Like,
it's all over now.
Like, come on. I had a good run.
You did.
Yeah. So.
And you should hit the translate button on this one so you know what's happening. There you go.
There we go.
So we had talked about Charlotte being on this podcast a while back, and we don't know how to pronounce it. It's
like Hand Oof's Hers,
sure.
Which I believe means hands on heart.
Yes, it does mean that.
Look at that.
And so they have regular panel discussions. This is the third time that she has been on, and they have been moderators. So part of these panel discussions, she actually got to go live. And then this week they were talking about sport and in particular entry to training and the peculiarities in heart patients. And so she was just talking about that. She also has a link on her Instagram, which of course will be in our newsletter, that you are able to find all of those episodes over on Spotify.
And she is a doctor, we should point out.
Yeah, which I honestly had no idea. I thought our only doctor was Chelsea Jackson Roberts. So I did not realize that she was a doctor until this particular episode came out. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wish I could read more German because I probably already would have known that.
And coming up after this, Angelo's going to talk to us about finding keto vegan snacks.
The Clip Out.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube, it's Angelo here to answer your fitness and nutrition questions, and this week we'll actually do that.
Hi, Angelo.
Thanks for having me back, guys.
Oh, we appreciate it. This question comes from an email that I received from Christina Ciano. She has a question specifically, she said, for Angelo. She went to a doctor back in 2015. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, okay?
Oh.
A dietitian gave her a recommendation to do a 50% vegetarian/vegan diet after that diagnosis, okay? So she's been doing it this whole time. This year, she just got diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And now she says she has to lose 30 pounds. And it looks like most recommendations lean toward a keto diet whenever they're looking at this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And she said that's the polar opposite of what she's been doing. And she's like, I can make my peace with grilled chicken and broccoli for dinner. I've never been 100% vegetarian or vegan. But are there vegan keto lunches or snacks that you can recommend? Does that even exist? And so putting you on the spot for some ideas.
Wow. Okay, great. Christina, great question. Okay, so first of all, the disclaimer, I got to stay in my lane. I am not a doctor, so what comes first is the medical diagnosis. But what I will speak to, so you got to listen to your dietitian, your doctor on what to eat and how to fuel your body for that. That's priority. Now, hopefully I can add a little value just speaking to the metabolic piece. So what the dietitian told you back in 2015, if I have these notes right, if I'm understanding right, is to basically go more plant-based, not entirely plant-based.
Correct.
So what I would argue in your case, Christina, is there's no downside to doing that. Now, I know a lot of people think that if I go plant-based by default, that's low protein, high carb, but it doesn't have to mean that, especially when you're just doing 50%. So if it is your desire to lose 30 pounds and continue at least more on the plant-based side of things, you can easily accomplish both. Yes, you could go with a low carb approach. That is a tool, and that comes with pros and cons metabolically. But managing calories and manipulating modestly your carbohydrates can also work. So how I recommend to my clients, especially if they have any sort of history of cardiac disease, If there's anything like that, I'm always wanting them to, let's err on the side of plant-based a little more. The reason is because there are research studies that have taken place that have shown some individuals respond very well to a more keto, higher fat, protein type diet, but not everyone. Whereas I never find research where somebody ate a bunch of fruits and vegetables and all of a sudden their blood work looked worse. So I always like to go on air on that side because I know I'm going to get a good result. So here's how I recommend doing that. Go mostly plant-based during the day and have your animal protein at night. So you can still do that chicken breast, you can still do those lean proteins, and you can feel satiated. But if you reserve that for dinner, then that's the meal most people will take the time, they'll cook, they'll prepare for. It'll be more of a to-do. And also socially, if you're eating with friends or you're at a restaurant, that is most likely to be the meal. During the day, if you're willing to do some advanced prep, it is very easy to get adequate protein, get lots of vegetables, and get measured carbohydrates from slow digesting sources. Rice and beans is a great way at lunch, combined with a medley of vegetables and some healthy fats. I'm always a fan of things like avocado or extra virgin olive oil. You can make some great meal combinations. You can make a brown rice or wild rice or quinoa bowl with tofu or black beans or actually any number of legumes and beans and still get some protein with that meal and pile on the veggies. For your snacks, I'm a big fan, regardless of what approach we're taking, cutting carbs or whether we're actually going for a more plant-based diet. I'm a big fan of combining low glycemic fruits with nuts. Almonds, walnuts, these are great healthy nuts. And in your case, I think it's going to appease what I'm guessing your dietitian was recommending based on your previous diagnosis. Nuts, fruits, things like that are probably, check with them, but probably going to be a good choice for you. Here's the recommendation I would make for snack time. Select fruits that you consume with the peel intact. You eat the outside of. Now, this isn't a hard rule. It isn't 100% of the case, but in the vast majority, if you consume the outside of the fruit, it's going to be lower glycemic. Think apples, think berries, etc. If you have something where you peel it and discard the rind or the peel, it tends to be higher glycemic, or think of in terms of higher sugar when it comes to weight loss. So things like watermelon, pineapple, banana, those aren't going to be as ideal for weight loss. But some berries, some nuts, great snack options. And then at breakfast, it's so easy to get a slow digesting carb. I'm a big fan of things like sweet potato in the morning. I'm a big fan of old-fashioned oats. And there's any sort of, mixture of those. And if you really want to stay focused on the plant-based, squash is a real satiating vegetable that you can eat that's somewhat hearty in the mornings. And you know how, you might be shocked, but what I'd recommend for your protein in the morning is get a vegan protein powder. It's actually what I use in the mornings. I use it because it's just so convenient. For breakfast today, I had a bowl of oatmeal, old-fashioned, but I microwaved it. It's easy. I threw it in the microwave, and I had a vegetarian, actually a vegan protein shake. And it's just a routine. It's quick. I didn't, sit and savor it. It was what I ate while I worked in the morning, and it just makes things really easy. And it's going to manage the macronutrients, Christina, that you're worrying about, and it's going to keep your calories lower. If you reserve the protein for exclusively at night, your total animal protein intake, exclusively at night, then the amount of animal protein you have in your day-to-day diet will be pretty small. It'll be pretty managed. And so I think, Christina, you can check all the boxes at the same time. You can lose the weight. Now, if you hit a plateau and it needs a little tweaking, well, give us a ring. I'm happy to talk anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for all that. And if people would like this sort of information tailor-made for them, where can they find you?
If they go to metpro.co/TCO, we would be happy to visit with you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Other connected fitness.
So it was not a good week for Tonal.
Sadly, it was not. Yeah. So they raised the price of the machine another $500. That's the second increase in, I want to say like 8 weeks, maybe 3 months. So 8 to 12 weeks, something like that. And they are undergoing another round of layoffs. For everyone freaking out, though, I just want to point out how many rounds of layoffs Peloton has been through. Although it is not good news, I do not think we need to jump to the conclusion that we will have bricks on our walls. I think everyone saying that needs to chill out.
Yeah.
From the people that I've talked to at Tonal, they still have plans. Like they are still moving forward, and they feel like they are starting to get things under control, the bleeding under control, and get things back where they needed to be. They also hired another instructor, which I will admit, not really pleased about. If you're losing that much money, I don't know that was the best timing. But who knows what that looked like on paper and why that was a good decision.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's still a great product.
It is.
Yeah.
And I would also like to point out that I have read no fewer than 10 articles in the past 2 days of companies laying people off.
Yeah.
Like it's happening everywhere.
Google, Microsoft.
Not just tech. I read 3M. What is the company that makes Sharpies? They just laid off a bunch of people too.
I believe that's Sharpie.
No, it's not. It actually isn't.
I think that might be 3M, actually.
It's not.
Oh, it's not?
It's not. Because it was 2 separate articles that I read, and they were like, this was both of them mentioned 3M, and then they mentioned the company that owns Sharpie, and it started with an L.
Newell.
Oh, okay. It started with an N. Not an L sound.
But it has the word L in it.
There you go.
She's like, here's where I went in my head. Go to L.
Go
How
to
about
L. But there's been a lot. And obviously the whole economy is kind of crazy right now.
It is a weird time.
It is a very weird time. So I personally am not panicking. I don't think anyone else needs to panic. I mean, if you feel like you got to sell it, sell it. They also raised the price of the monthly subscription. Yeah. Now, if you just activated your subscription, you get 12 months from the time you activated it before you start paying the higher fees of $10 more a month. But if you've had your subscription for a while, that takes place immediately.
Peloton artist collaborations.
We have another entry in the Broadway series. This time it will be featuring the new musical 6.
Yes, and they can make herstory. See what they did there?
I guess it's not super new. It's been around for a little bit. It's actually on tour because it's coming to St. Louis like in the next couple weeks.
I didn't. Oh, yeah. Isn't Brian going to that?
Yeah, that's the one Brian's going to check out.
Yeah. And if you were wondering who all is teaching classes, it will be Robin, Maddie, Sam.
Duh.
I know, right? Right? Hannah and Jeffrey McEachern. So
I think Maddie would be a former Peloton instructor if they didn't let him teach one of the Broadway classes.
I mean, he is seriously invested into the Broadway series.
He'd be like, I'm out.
I don't know if we should say that. Maddie would be like, well, I do need a job,
Yeah, he's like,
guys.
well, I mean, it's important to me, but so is a paycheck.
Yeah,
like,
let's not get crazy.
Yeah, he's like, what am I going to
We're just trying to support you, Maddie.
Yes.
We love you.
He's like, what am I going to go over to Echelon and do a Broadway class? Like, all I'm going to get is like Fiddler on the Roof and Carousel. It's going to be all things that are like 60 years old.
Oh. I'm pretty sure Echelon is doing 7.
Yeah. They're doing 5.
Oh, okay.
It is less.
Okay. Right.
In case you missed it.
We have beginner Pilates classes.
We sure do. Kristen McGee is going to be, not going to be, she already filmed these classes. It's a week of 6 different classes. They're all introductory, and they are designed to help you start your Pilates journey. So it starts with a principle, and then it builds to a more confident practice. So very exciting for Kristen. And don't forget that if you have not had a chance to do so already, this is one of the live class series they will be teaching live now. So we had the boot camps that got added and Pilates got added. So that's pretty cool.
We have a new level on lane break.
We do. It's the Lunar New Year. And it is a 20-minute level featuring Peggy Gao, BTS, and Chung Ha, and more.
I love and more.
No, and more.
Oh, I see.
There you go.
Okay.
I took Susie's Lunar New Year run and it was really fun. I took it last Saturday and I was in like the shittiest mood when I was running and I still enjoyed it. Like Susie really has a way of making you enjoy every single class.
Well,
Like,
that's awesome.
it's really good.
We have a new apparel drop. Bring your own energy.
Well, we did. And it sold out in, I believe when Callie posted, she said that it sold out in 30 minutes.
Whoa.
So it was a capsule collection.
Yeah.
And it was Callie's capsule collection. So it was bring your own energy, really cute little bra and a hoodie and leggings and t-shirt. And everything except for the bra was sold out in 30 minutes. Now, if you live in Canada, they still have everything. You can still get it all there
So
as of yesterday.
Can you order it there and pay for international shipping?
If you use one of those international shipping companies,
Gotcha.
you can. And then I had to share this video because I thought it was really fun that Olivia and Kendall and Callie and Maddie all did a fun little video for the advertisement of this new apparel drop. That was really fun.
And speaking of the Bring Your Own Energy collection, just something interesting to note that Shape magazine posted about it on their Instagram as well.
Just far as I know is the first time that's ever happened. Well, maybe they did something with Kendall's, but I don't think so because I think that was all through the company that she went through. What was the name of that company? It was the one with the eye on it. The apparel company. I don't know why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
The green set that she did. I'm sure somebody's
Soul
yelling.
something?
I don't know.
Oh.
Anyway, my whole point to that is that's the only other time I can think of that like a third party did something. But now Shape posted about it. I just think we're going to start seeing more of this.
Yeah.
They also kind of use this to tie back to their motivation issue, which obviously Callie was a part of. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Peloton birthdays.
And finally, we've got one birthday for you this week, and it is Kendall Toole. She was born on January 28th.
She was. Happy birthday, Kendall.
Happy birthday. And coming up next, we're going to talk to Lauren Romanowski about her Peloton journey and functional medicine.
Lots to learn.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Lauren Romanowski. Hey, Lauren, how's it going?
Hi.
Hey there, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Well,
We'll see if you feel that way in 30 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can change it. I'm just kidding. We're
Well, my
totally-
dentist sure does because he was impressed when I said I was coming.
Who's your dentist?
Dr. Gonzalez, he's in Newport Beach, and I'm in Laguna Beach, but his wife's an avid Peloton rider and athlete. And so I was like, guess what? So it was a big topic today.
That's
so thank
great.
you.
I love that. So, okay, well, you're obviously an avid Pelotoner yourself. When did that come to be? How did you find Peloton?
So Peloton kind of found me.
Okay.
I had moved to Arizona. I'd lived in New York City most of my life and Chicago. Spent some time here or there, and then moved to Arizona thinking it was going to be a great idea. And then I was waking up at 4 a.m. so I could run before it got to be 100 degrees.
Oh.
And I was like, whoa, like slow your roll, Arizona. Because, I was, running in my sleep and basically my pajamas. And then it was like, well, what's this Peloton thing? And, if I'm in the house 18 hours a day, what's this all about? And then, I drank the Kool-Aid and then it became, my salvation to the summers in Arizona.
Okay. So when was it? Did I miss the year? Did you say, or did I just go like?
And I've been like 3.5 years. I've been in California 2.5 years, and I was in Arizona for like 1.5 years before that. So like 3.5 years.
Okay. So you've had the Peloton since we're in 20. So you've had it since like early 2020?
Yeah.
Late 2019, somewhere in there. Well, that is exciting. And so you started with the bike, I would assume. What kind of fitness routine did you have before you got the bike? What did that look like?
So I've been an athlete all my life, high school swimmer, college swimmer, volleyball. And then outside of college, I was on a couple volleyball teams in New York and, a social thing. And I've always been a runner. And so someone close to me in Connecticut said to me one time, like, you should start running. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then 9 months later, I did my first marathon. So I just want to say, like, thank you, Nick, because he believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And then I started doing marathon. And so fitness and lifting weights and whatnot's always been a part of my life. And then came Peloton.
Do you have a Peloton tread, or do you have a regular treadmill that you do like Peloton?
God, no. It's got to be slats all the way, right? It's got to be the plus.
Oh my God, I know, right? But it's
I don't allow my cats to get sucked under. We're good.
Good, that's good. But a lot of people can't get the Tread Plus because they missed the opportunity.
You had a brief window.
Yeah, you had a brief window, and a lot of people sent them back when they could get $4,000 back, so they sent them back. So a lot of people are sad about that now. But I know they have to pry it out of my hands. Like, that's not going anywhere. I love my Tread Plus. I am all about the slats, just like you.
Yeah, I mean, if they can make the hole in the ground, big enough for both of us,
you're going together.
I'm happy to lay on it. Yeah, we're going down together.
I feel sorry for those pallbearers.
Right? Oh, you should have saw my movers. They were just like, oh yeah, we got this.
Wow, that's impressive. That thing is heavy.
For sure.
Okay, so you've got the bike, you've got the Tread Plus, and you lift weights. So did I cover everything from a Peloton standpoint, or do you do other modalities? Yoga?
Yoga-ish.
Okay.
Pilates with Sam a little bit here or there. Some meditations, but yoga is a little slow for me because got a little bit of energy most days. If you can't tell. And I'm not caffeinated, so
That is all natural.
And I don't have the guide, but I do my Peloton every day. It's right there.
That's awesome. That's great. Okay. So I guess I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and jump into your day job. Tell us about that.
So I put on about 20 different hats every day, and I'm launching a business right now and also studying for a high stakes test for a national board certification. But I do functional medicine and work to coach people through functional medicine and a modifiable lifestyle approach, if that makes sense.
So what does that mean?
Yeah.
In people?
In people, exactly.
So functional medicine, some people think holistic or natural, but it's more of a preventive type care where modifying your lifestyle through nutrition, movement, mindfulness, relationships, and most importantly, sleep are really the things you can change about yourself that are precursors to a lot of diseases.
So through relationships, can you write a prescription for divorce? I could have used one of those about 12 years ago.
Oh, you and me both. Yeah,
I just
maybe
went over
if
the counter.
I would have had a drip for a couple years.
Yeah.
So. I get it. If you only knew.
Same.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to your point, but communication is really huge, and then also having mindfulness. And sometimes people think it's a little woo woo, but when you're bringing that baggage and not putting it down from the past, you're lugging that stuff around and you're bringing it with you wherever you go. And if you can just be a little more cognizant and being mindful, and incorporating your nutrition, different movement exercises, and really, most importantly, sleep, because sleep is the foundational element of mental, physical, and emotional health.
Okay.
I always told Crystal when we were dating, when it came to baggage, I was like, the secret isn't finding somebody without any baggage, because that doesn't exist. It's finding someone with matching luggage.
Ours matches so well.
Yes.
There you go.
Definitely. But I'm okay. So for people who are still kind of trying to picture what that looks like, let's say you have a person come in, they want to see you. What would they say? What kind of quote unquote ailment would they come to you with? Does that make sense?
Sure. It could be someone coming, from their primary doctor or a Western medicine doctor saying, I'm pre-diabetic and he wants to put me on 5 meds and said, you know what, you might be able to take a look at things. And from a functional medicine approach, and when you coach people through it, it's looking at what happened before those symptoms came. Like you do, it's called a matrix and a timeline of, what happened when you were younger that, did your mother smoke? What was going on even in the womb? Because you're bringing that along with you, or if you had any traumas in your life. And, when did the irritable bowel start happening? Maybe it happened and coincided with a specific time in life. And so it's just like, okay, let's try and eliminate all the triggers up front through a nutritional plan first to see what's going on and seeing if, we can get stuff under control this way instead of putting a Band-Aid or a pill on top of a symptom. Because even if you're numbing a symptom, the underlying root cause is still there.
Yeah, I guess I have always kind of heard it explained or look at it like my brain has meshed it together that it's like it's kind of like looking at alternatives to just taking medicine for things that are happening with you. It's like, what else can you change? Like we had a guest on, do you remember Stacey Revere? I mean, she talks to us all the time, but she was a guest on the show, and she went to a functional medicine doctor specifically because she was having like symptoms that kind of looked like it was what are those diseases where like your body is attacking itself? I'm having autoimmune.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, I got one right.
Yay. So she talked to doctors to figure out like how to change her nutrition to really reduce those symptoms. And that made a huge difference for her. And so that's kind of visually how I interpret it. But I know that it encompasses a lot of things. But would you say that's kind of an accurate representation?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And aside from sleep, I mean, around 82% of how you look, feel, and act on a daily basis is due to your nutrition. Oh. And, taking a look at things that might be inflammatory in your body, if you got headaches or arthritis, bursitis, itis is, an inflammation. And instead of saying, here, take this pill so it doesn't hurt, where a functional medicine practitioner will look for that root cause of where is it stemming from? Is there stuff going on in your gut? Is there, what's your blood look like? And do more testing or more than just an allergy testing panel that a typical Western MD would do.
No, so normally it's my thoughts that are inflammatory. Can you do anything with that?
Well, maybe it's
your thoughts all day long, right?
Well, you know what? He doesn't eat fruits and vegetables. Maybe there's a link. Tom, I think we have. Oh my gosh, I think we just broke her.
Yeah. She's like, I thought her Wi-Fi crapped out, but she was just frozen in terror.
So tell me, what did these vegetables do to you?
They're gross.
Yeah, it's a texture thing.
It's a texture.
I can't choke them down.
Yeah.
What about mashed potatoes?
I can do that. But see, the potatoes are the bane of my existence when I have this conversation with people.
What about if you made cauliflower into like a mashed cauliflower?
Well, but that's just cauliflower. But
he won't.
But whenever I tell people I don't eat fruits and vegetables, and I used to say, well, I eat potatoes, and then they would tell me, well, that doesn't count as a vegetable; it's a starch. And then now whenever I say it, they're like, well, what about potatoes? I'm like, well, I just can't win. But I do eat potatoes because I'm Irish and it's the law.
Okay.
But beyond that.
Oh, no. And you do eat tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce, as long as there's no chunks of anything.
It's got to be smooth.
So it's ragu, old world, traditional.
It's all we can buy.
It's all we can get.
Yeah, it's got to
be
no chunks of stuff.
Really, this would you drink a smoothie with fruit and spinach or kale in it if it was blended like tomato sauce?
No.
I tried it one time and it was a disaster. I tried it with oats and it was like oats and like honey and something, and he could not choke it down. Like he literally gagged. It was awful.
I can't get it down. So potatoes, ragu, and a 1-a-day vitamin. Yep. That's what's sustaining my life.
And fiber. You do take fiber.
Yeah.
So describe a typical day of meals for you?
So, so I do MetPro, which has been very effective for me. And so, but I need to preface this for people that are considering MetPro by saying that this is what they've modified for me. This is not what they have people do.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is a Tom special because I'm a weirdo.
Yes.
So for breakfast, I'll have eggs with some sort of carb, either wheat toast or sometimes on a corn tortilla. And then I'll have a snack.
Egg whites too, just saying.
Eggs and egg whites combined. And then I'll have a snack a few hours later, which is typically a rice cake with peanut butter and a little bit of beef jerky. And then for lunch, I'll have, I make a concoction. And I basically, what I do is I make taco meat and I pour ragu on it and some cheese. And then I eat that for lunch. And a few hours later, another snack. And then for dinner, I'll typically have like chicken breast with more ragu and cheese and a potato.
That's it.
Wow.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
I eat that every
day.
day, day in, day out. And so, but that's fine. Like I'm like, but again, that is not what MetPro makes people do. They were looking for things that I would actually consume that fits their thing. And so, so like you have an infinite array of choices. If you're on MetPro, it's just, if I were left to my own devices, I'd be eating the same three things over and over again. Just instead of all that, it would be like burger, fried chicken, pizza. So,
And chicken tenders.
and chicken. Well, that's fried chicken. So, yeah.
Okay. Chicken of any kind.
Yeah. But yeah, so I am a weird eater, and that's what I do. So, but it's been very effective for me. I've probably lost like 50, 60 pounds.
No, you've lost 70.
70 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. And have kept it off for over 2 years at this point. So it's been,
What prompted the weight loss?
the eating different. Oh, you mean psychological?
Yeah. Why did you want to lose weight?
Well, I mean, I like it. I was never happy with where I was at, and my weight has fluctuated over the years. But I just was kind of like I was 50 or coming up on it, and I just thought like that's going to bite me in the ass here at some point, and I should probably get out in front of it sooner rather than later. And so I just.
Well, the sweet answer that he gives me when no one's around is he wanted to be around longer for me. So that's the answer I get.
Yeah, in the last
So
marriage, I didn't care. I was eating rocks and like I was broken glass, just whatever. Just waiting for the sweet release
Low
of death.
carb.
Yeah.
What would you say were the 3 top takeaways from the weight loss?
Remember when she was the guest?
I know.
And
She
we
got
were asking
into
questions?
she put her doctor hat on. She's like, we get this sometimes whenever we have like a nutritionist on
Yeah.
or a doctor.
Like-
We first had the psychologist on.
Yeah.
And she got super into like, what is
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Yeah. And I'm like alphabetically, chronologically, how would you prefer? So what was the question? 3 what now?
What do you think were the 3 top takeaways that from your health or mental well-being after losing the weight?
Like takeaways in terms of like things
What was good for you?
What was good for you? So I noticed that like, I mean, I certainly don't get out of breath like I used to. And so like, we told this story before, but we were seeing a show and like we got to the door and we had forgotten something. We had to go back to the car real quick and get it and come back. And it was probably, it was a good walk, and we were walking briskly because the show was about to start. And we get back to the door and Crystal made the point. She's like, a year ago, you would be out of breath and drenched in sweat right now. And I like wasn't even breathing hard. It was just like, okay, let's go.
And we talked the whole time.
Yeah,
Like,
we were
just
talking because we never shut up. Like
It's true. We don't.
Yeah, we're always podcasting. It's just sometimes there are mics in front of us.
It's true.
But so I don't know about coming up with 3, but that comes to mind.
That comes to mind?
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's what's working for you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that in tonal, those are my things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And your eating plan.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like the food in tonal are my.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put you back on the hot
Yes.
seat. Back to functional medicine. What kind of things do you like to talk to people about? Like, what if you had like an ideal client that brought in an ideal problem? What would you want it to be?
What I like to focus on is the coaching of someone from like, there's stages of change that everyone goes through when they're making any type of change. There's 5 of those. And then there's people are sometimes ambivalent. And so I like to work using like motivational interviewing or MI techniques to, kind of uncover, this ambivalence and really create some empowerment and self-efficacy in patients so that they can take control of their own health and not have a top-down, you must do this, but really embrace their health and be a part of their wellness. And so someone who's receptive to even going from, I don't want to change, I'm in denial, to, going through a pre-contemplative, contemplative, and then a preparation and action stage. I mean, it's kind of cool when people get on board, they start seeing their wins because success begets success.
For sure. That's, I think, the hardest part of a fitness journey is that there's a lag time between when you start doing the things and when you start seeing the results. And it's real easy, I think, to drop off during that interim. You kind of got to keep people engaged until they get to a point where they can see that it's doing something.
Yeah.
And people need to be they need to be engaged in their own journey and making the decisions. So, a lot of times it's, question asking for me, a lot of, we call it, health coaches out there understand when I say ORs, but, you start with open-ended questions. What's top of mind? Like I asked you, what was the highlight of your day? Let's start this out positive and let's keep this momentum moving forward. And, just, reaffirming what they're saying and then, moving on, creating a focus. So seeing people's transitions when they're self-empowered, it warms your heart.
Yeah.
Do you have any success stories that immediately come to mind?
I work a lot transitioning women through what I call mental pause or menopause. And I say mental pause, no sweat, because when you incorporate a lot of functional medicine components and health coaching into this, it doesn't have to be, that burden for months or years. That's, you just, throw your hands in the air and live with it. And so I have a lot of women who were just like, whoa, I didn't realize, I was sensitive to dairy, or I didn't realize this was a trigger, or just being mindful and present, doesn't let my husband, drive me, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs during the day, and then you lash out. So, being present with yourself, I suppose a lot of success comes from that, where it was just like, whoa, I didn't know it could almost be this easy, but you still need to do the work.
Yeah. So when people come to you and you're working with women who are going through, I would assume at some point in perimenopause, right? Do they have like specific things they're looking to fix, or is it just like, or change, or is it just like, I just don't feel good?
Typically, it's it's more than a trifecta. It's, the weight gain is huge, or heart palpitations, night sweats, brain fog, hot flashes, irritability, sadness or depression, low moods. And, sometimes they're first told, go take Ambien to sleep, go take metformin, go take, something, but what's the root cause of this? And, women are going through this, all the time. And it's just like, whoa, let's just take a step back, and figure this out instead of taking something and piling, one on the other.
Yeah,
for sure. So it's not, you're not anti-medication. It's just, maybe let's not have it be the starting point.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally every person's journey. But maybe before you want to do something, and, it's not, in my purview to say what's necessary for each person.
Sure.
But why not take, this approach? And if this doesn't work, your numbers, don't come up, down, or whatnot, then, let's take the next step. But there's tons of options out there for everyone. And this is one, especially if you don't want to go, a pharmaceutical route.
Yeah, I am always the last person. Like, I'm always very like, I don't want to start with medicine. Like, I want to try, I want to understand why this is happening to me. And I have done so much research in the last few years reading about perimenopause and menopause. And there's so many things that you can do. I have no idea, what your specific thoughts are, but things like, oh, geez, I can't remember the name of them. Adaptogens, there they are. Adaptogens are so helpful, I think, for people. And it's not like you have to go straight to hormone replacement therapy. That's not necessarily, I mean, some people choose to do that. Some people need to do that, but that's not necessarily like you have to jump to that. It can be so disruptive to change things like adding hormonal therapy, that I definitely would be the person to try everything under the sun before I did that, just because it's so disruptive. There's just a lot of stuff. It's very powerful. And so you want to kind of use with caution.
Yeah. And I had been that person. I didn't do HRT, just, full disclosure, but I went through hell. I don't know. Can I say hell?
Yeah, absolutely.
I went through hell for several years, and I was told, just figure it out, because I was supposed to be happy all the time. Mm-hmm. And from the outside, people could have thought I was living some fairy tale, but, it was hell inside, but I was supposed to be happy. And what can you take? And so I was like, I got to figure this out. And that's what led me down to researching functional medicine, and then taking, almost 2 years and putting myself through school. I'm taking my national boards, for the coaching aspect of it, because I've been there and from the bottom up, and now it's complete turnaround.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was the biggest change that you think you made that helped? If you don't mind sharing.
No, not at all. I do it all the time, because people I want people to trust me, and people, need to fill their trust bucket up. And for me, it was nutrition and mindfulness, because with those two things, my communication skill and relationship skills improved. My sleep, I went from like sweating through my pajamas, yeah, horrible, and drinking like bottles of water, to sleeping through the night. I wear my Aura ring, no plug for them, but I really love it. And, I'm sleeping through the night and I'm dreaming, but it was really through nutrition. And I created a transformational food plan where it removes a lot of the trigger type foods, and then you reintroduce them. But, you're on the straight and narrow for, a good 3 weeks.
Right.
And then it's like, whoa, after 3 days, your energy starts coming back. The brain fog is gone. The aches and pains are gone. You're sleeping through the night, and it's like, come on. And then just being really focused and not thinking about yesterday or worrying about tomorrow were both game changers for me.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Just kind of a logistical question. Do most insurance companies cover functional medicine at all?
Good question. Great question. Right now, you have to be in a certain setting where a doctor can bill for it, but overall, no, because there aren't codes for a regular Western medicine physician, which I'm not, to code for this. But there's acts in Congress right now to start having some of these coding for the tests and for the coaching that, definitely enhances, change in people.
That's good. I'm glad.
So, fingers crossed, because the testing is can be really costly.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I was wondering. I was like, I bet that's not cheap.
Right.
And there's some great guys out there, who I follow and whatnot. And so I can't say enough about what I learned from them.
Well, you can go ahead and say who they are if you would like to.
Oh, two of my favorites are, Dr. Bland was sort of the father of functional medicine. I have his books and I love what he has to say. And then Dr. Jockers, he's really great. He's a huge proponent of intermittent fasting and keto. It's one approach that people take, but his information is spot on. And Dr. Osborne, and he's in, of all places, Sugar Land, Texas. And I have no affiliation with them, but I just think they're really amazing people, and they want to do everything they can to help others.
That's great.
Awesome. So bringing it back to Peloton, what is your leaderboard name?
Loves Italy.
Nice.
because you love Italy.
Because I love Italy. That was a watercolor that was painted by a woman. Behind me, it's where my heart lives. And it's where I want to live in the future.
Yeah, that's...
Did you have to spell it weird? I would feel like there's other people that love Italy that would have snagged it.
I was the first.
How about that?
Oh, nice.
Nice. Well done. Yeah.
Okay, so now do you have a favorite instructor? I know.
I knew you'd ask this.
I know.
And you know what? I started writing it down in alphabetical because I didn't want to offend anyone. It depends on my mood. It's kind of like your music, or, it's like with all due, asking me my favorite instructors, like asking me my favorite AC/DC song. It's tough. But I'll just say today was Maddie, Husky, and Ben.
That's a great trifecta.
And just to clarify, it's Shoot to Kill. Or Shoot to Thrill. That's the best AC/DC song.
Oh, come on.
Shoot to Thrill.
He's got very strong opinions about music.
You don't like Thunderstruck?
I know. I didn't say I don't like it. I just like Shoot to Thrill.
Shoot to Thrill? Okay.
Yeah. I like that
now
little
we know.
breakdown.
That should be your intro, right?
We can't afford it.
Yeah, we would have to license it. We can't do that.
Okay.
No.
That seems expensive. Thunderstruck is also great. Shoot to Thrill is better.
Oh,
that's
wow.
all I'm saying. So do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
Why haven't you done it before? And yeah, you know what? Two things. First is, I know they say, some of the groups are a little toxic and snarky, but you'll find the people that have your voice. Pelo, singles over 40, they're a great bunch of people, and, I've made some friendships along the way. But, if you're riding and you're looking at that leaderboard and they're like, 45 cadence or something, and you're like, I can't do 45 cadence, finish it up with yet. I can't ride, at a resistance or, flip it, a resistance of 60 yet, because you will.
Yeah.
Don't worry about those people, over there, it's just yet, because it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Absolutely.
It really will.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you, because I'm assuming, I can tell you would like to be found. Normally, I would give people that out, but I can tell you're an extrovert and don't mind.
I was just going to say, I'm an introvert.
No, I don't believe you.
I'm an exponential introvert. For real.
It does not show.
It does not. You're doing you're hiding it very well.
Yeah, you are.
I know. I'm going to need like 3 days, break after this.
Yeah.
Menopause.no.sweat on Instagram. You can check out stuff there. My program is called Mental Pause No Sweat. And Facebook would be a modifiable lifestyle approach to menopause.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
One more thing.
We got one more thing.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Just one more thing.
For sure.
I promise
Yeah.
to say shout out to Flo. Just want to say that.
And your dentist. Or your
And my
dentist's
dentist,
wife.
Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes.
And his wife. Thanks so much.
Oh, I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yes, thank you. It's been a joy. Thank you so much.
Flip out.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next week, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook.com/Crystal D. O'Keefe. They can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and the Peloton leaderboard at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at Facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, Facebook.com/The Clipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And of course, don't forget our YouTube channel at YouTube.com/The Clipout. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, keep pedaling
And running.
and rowing.